Many people look at the gains and the value of real estate here in Florida and are tempted to try their hands at investing and becoming a landlord. Well, if you're thinking about being a real estate investor, there are some things you should know before diving in. So we're here with Cindy Tomasetti, a broker associate with Engel & Volkers and a partner with Home Connect TV. Thanks for joining us again. Good to see you.
Oh, it's so good to be back, and I love what you've done with the set, especially Tim Deegan's surfboard.
Oh yeah, isn't that so cool?
Yeah.
He lent that to us right behind her there with that peace sign. It has TD on it too. I thought that was pretty cool. Well, yes, good to see you. I hear this a lot. You know, a lot of people wanting to get an investment property, they might not know what goes into it. I'm not in real estate, and I'm hearing it a lot, so I imagine you are as well. Are people coming to you wanting to learn more?
Absolutely, and I love those questions. I'm a landlord myself. I'm a real estate investor. My family started investing in Florida land in the 20s.
Wow.
Yeah, so I like those questions. I get a lot of people at open houses or call me on listings about becoming a landlord or turning that into an investment property.
Okay, always looking for some passive income, right? So what should investors know, though, before going out and trying to get a property?
Oh, gosh. So, you know, I always say this all the time. Do your homework, do your homework, do your homework. First and foremost, make sure, can that property actually be rented? There was a horror story. It wasn't my buyers.
Gosh.
They almost got to the closing table. They found out that house couldn't be rented. So check with your municipalities. Municipalities sometimes have regulations about rentals. And then also look at the associations, the condo associations, the homeowners associations. What are your limits? Is it an annual rental, 6 months? Can you do an Airbnb? Can you do a VRBO? Find that out first before you make those investments.
Yeah, because the neighborhood I live in, of course, you can rent out your home, but you can't. They do not want you to do Airbnb or VRBO at all. So that's interesting too. To your point, like I would have never thought, hey, you might not even be able to rent that home out. So that's good to know as well. And do people need a lot of money? I mean, we hear about no money down.
Well, they do money, but they do need money, and I'm going to address that next. But the first thing I would tell them is they need to look at their profitability.
Okay.
So you need to look at what is your anticipated gross income, what kind of rent are you anticipating? Maybe that home's already been rented and you can look at the existing rent rolls, or do you need to do some neighborhood research, like maybe go out to Rent-A-Meter and find out. So you take your gross income and then you've got to subtract your operating costs, and that is going to give you your net profits.
Okay.
So important things to look at. You always have hard costs. If you're not paying cash for that property, you're going to have to pay debt service. That's a constant. Your property taxes, that's going to be a constant. Your insurance, typically more for an investment property, going to be a constant. If you're not going to handle the management yourself, you're typically going to pay about 10% in management fees for that property. And then we're going to look at variable costs, super important. So number one on my list is always maintenance. Are you putting money aside for maintenance?
Right.
I typically budget 5% because you don't. You know, I had a tenant whose child flushed down fishing lines and lures.
Oh,
so,
no.
Yeah, huge plumbing bill, had to displace the family, had to find them alternate lodging. If I didn't have money in reserves, I wouldn't have had the operating income. It would have been bad. And then the other thing you typically need to budget for are vacancies, especially if you're looking at a vacation rental. How often is that property not going to be rented?
Right.
Do you need to keep money in reserves? So take your fixed cost, your variable cost, and then you see your net. And that might look pretty good. That could be as high as 10, 12% depending upon the property. If it's low, then maybe you want to rethink that particular property.
Well, you've really thought of it all, and that's why we need the help, right? So sum it all up. What do we need to know before we get started again?
So again, this is my drumbeat. Definitely education.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, one of the easiest and least expensive ways to get that education is here on the First Coast. We have Jack's RIA. That is a real estate investment association. If you're watching in Georgia, Georgia has RIAs too, real estate investment organizations. You can go. They have monthly seminars. They have classes. They have meetups at different parts around town. And you're going to build your team, people you need. Lawyers, are you going to put this in a land trust? Accountants, are they going to tell you the tax advantages or how to best manage that? Vendors, contractors, lenders. If you don't have money, where are you going to get the money to invest in that property?
Right.
So you can get all of that education typically at those organizations.
And that website?
So jacksreia.com. I think it's $20 a month to join
Okay.
if you want to join monthly, and then there's if you want an annual membership with more benefits. I think it's about $350 a year.
Well, it's nice to have resources. Thank you so much
Absolutely.
for helping us out with that today.
My pleasure.
Things I did not think about. So make sure you watch Home Connect TV now on 7 days a week with hundreds of homes for sale on the First Coast.
All right.